Hello, sports fans, and welcome. Welcome to episode 185 of the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. Today, I am very glad to let you guys know that I am here with a special guest. I will introduce him in a second. I want to introduce you guys to what we got going on. And now it is basically September. So September, like I told you guys before in this podcast, from the end of February when the Super Bowl wraps up all the way up until September, I usually do this podcast on Sunday mornings. And Sunday mornings I usually get in, overnight I usually kind of research or whatever, do what I got to do. And I come to you on a Sunday morning. But now, this is September the 2nd, 2023, and now basically it's back to Saturday Night Lives. So I'm glad that you're with us. And for this episode, I brought in one of my friends that you guys knew from last year when we talked the NFL. And he made the great statement of two polished turds. And I've always remembered that. And I always want to thank him. And I also want to thank him for a couple other things that he said, like reckoning and fixing, right? Is that right there? Fixing? Fixing to. Is that fixing to?
Yep, that's fixing to. It's redneck slang for fixing to.
Okay. I've learned something. And see, this is the thing. When I talk to people, I always try to learn things. And from when I heard the reckoning, I thought that was pretty cool. But I want to introduce to you guys my friend, and one of my friends. I love this guy because he makes me laugh, and I'll tell you guys, from God, me. Doing this podcast, I always need to find something funny and something to laugh at. But I want to welcome back my man Dixieland Dan from down in Mississippi, and right now, and I know these guys down there are really, really happy because Mississippi did open up a can of whoop ass today in the first game of the season for college football. Dan, welcome back. How are you today, sir?
I am doing good, Mr. Guru. It is good to be back with all of you. It's good to be back with you. It's good to be back on this podcast. We're living good. We're doing well.
All right.
And we're here to hang out, and we're here to talk about anything you want to talk about. So what's on your mind, my friend?
Okay. Before I go into it, I want to tell you that, this is the second time you've been back. You was back last year when we did, me, Dante, Caden, and yourself. We all did the football preview show, NFL preview show, right? So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit of college, and then next week we're going to bring back you, and we're going to bring back our friend Rob from the 321. But we were supposed to get him today, but he is actually in Michigan watching his Wolverines. They won today, so we got we're going to talk a little bit of college today. We're not going to talk long, but we're going to talk a little bit of college. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the conferences and certain things and, what you see, what I see. And one of the things that, I wanted to start off with, Dan, is the death of the Pac-12. And that to me is like one of the most devastating things because, we were sitting here talking a little bit earlier. The Pac-12 is down now to the Pac-2. So Washington State and Oregon State are basically the lone settlers of the Pac-12. And if you didn't know that, the ACC has just taken Stanford, Cal, and they're going to be adding SMU. And this is really, really hard because I've actually been to. I lived out on the West Coast where I've had some kind of relationship with the Pac-12. I was one of the, I used to go out and hang out at UCLA, and seen a couple Rose Bowls out there and everything, and it's just really devastating to see the death of a great conference, especially now where I don't understand this. UCLA is going to be coming into Maryland to play Maryland in a conference game, and Rutgers, I just can't understand it. I want to hear your thoughts on the death of the Pac-12.
Well, to me, honestly, the Pac-12 was always the weak link of the Power 5 schools. Living over here in Mississippi, being in the Central Time Zone, whenever most of their games were played, I was already in the bed asleep. I'd done watched the SEC, the Big 12, the ACC, whatever, whoever was playing. I was already in the bed asleep, so I really didn't pay much attention to them. They were kind of like the black sheep of the family. Mm-hmm. The one thing I can say for them, that I can speak to my own experience, not necessarily so much about the football, it's baseball. Mm-hmm. That's what I grew up playing, played all the way through college. I do not understand how they're going to make this work, because you play a 3-game series on the weekends, you play 2 midweek games, then you go play another 3-game series on the next weekend. So what happens whenever you've got Cal having to drive, however the hell they're going to get there, all the way to Penn State? Now you've got a home game on Tuesday. You rest on Monday. You got to come all the way back to Cal on Tuesday to play a home game. And then let's say you play an away game at Utah, not too awful far. It is far, but it's not that far. And then you got to turn around and get back on a plane or whatever and go all the way back to Ohio State for a 3-game conference weekend.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really, really tough on them. Football is going to be bad enough on them, but at least with football, you've got one game. You can fly out there, say if you're Stanford, and you've got to fly all the way over and play Rutgers. You can fly out on Wednesday, practice Thursday, rest up on Friday, or rest up on Thursday and practice Friday, and then play your game Saturday and come home, and you don't have to be back on the road again till Wednesday or Thursday. Mm-hmm. For a baseball team or a softball team, you've got to be constantly moving. And, that's a thing for in conference for like the SEC, having to go from, say, here in where I'm at with Ole Miss, you've got to go from Alabama, which is in Tuscaloosa, and drive all the way back to Oxford, which you can take on a bus in 3.5 hours, and then play at home, mm-hmm. and then drive to Arkansas State over in the other side of Little Rock, and then drive back home, and then go down to LSU. It's a lot of travel, yes, but it's not bad compared to what these Pac-12 schools are fixing to have to experience, and I don't know how they're going to swing it. It kind of seems unfair.
I still don't understand this, because, the way the NCAA just basically just turned a blind eye on this, and basically let the college presidents just do their own thing. There's no accountability for this. I mean, it's like you said. I never thought I'd see the day when Ohio State is playing LSU, or I'm sorry, Ohio State is playing basically USC in a conference game. Yeah, in a conference game, and Michigan versus Washington or Oregon as a conference game. I mean, it's like Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is basically what? Are they still going to have the Rose Bowl? I don't know if they are or not.
The only Rose Bowl there's going to be is literally the Rose Bowl game, whoever decides to come there. And it's more than likely not going to be anybody from the area. If it is, it's just by happenstance.
Yeah. I mean, the tradition of, this is a good point that I heard today on, when I was watching a few of these college games. this is the last. We are looking at basically the last year of the way it is. It's going to be totally changed next year. There's going to be total chaos next year because
absolutely
we're going to be looking at, okay, Oklahoma and Texas is going to the SEC. We knew that.
Makes sense. Somewhat. You can at least get around the idea that they're in the same regional vicinity.
Yeah, exactly. But now we're going to see Washington, Oregon, UCLA, and USC going into the Big Ten now. I feel bad for guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, both the football and the basketball player. Bill Walton, these guys don't have no association with the Big Ten. These guys are legends of the Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-12, Pac-8, whatever. But, it's just really ridiculous, and I just don't see it. And everybody's talking about, well, we need new traditions. Change is good. Not really, because I just can't see this. This is like the worst thing. Well, I want your opinion on this. Am I wrong or am I crazy or what?
I wouldn't say you're wrong. I wouldn't say you're crazy. What I would say, however, is what is really changing? Who was Oregon's big rival? Was it Oregon State? Was it USC? Who was USC's big rival? Was it UCLA? Was it Cal? As far as, the tradition of rivalries and everything, the rivalries are going to stay the same. There's still going to be the rivalry between Penn State and Ohio State and Michigan. As far as the SEC goes, there's still going to be the rivalry of Bama, Auburn, State, Ole Miss. Yep, I just lost that train of thought completely. Georgia and Georgia Tech, which isn't really a thing, although Georgia Tech could come back into the SEC since they were one of the founding 4 colleges of the SEC.
Yeah.
These old ingrained traditions are still going to be there. These old rivalries are still going to be there. My question is, what's the rivalries going to look like with these new guys? Because, like I said, the old ones are still going to be there. If you think that bringing in Oregon and Cal and UCLA and USC into the Big Ten is going to take away from what Michigan and Ohio State is, you are badly mistaken there.
Yeah.
That's still going to be a big thing. And as far as the SEC goes, which I know the best, bringing in Texas and Oklahoma is only going to add fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Because we've always heard about, Oklahoma's so good and Texas so good, and everybody's retort has been, well, come to the SEC and just see how bad you are. Let's see how big a boy you are.
Yeah.
And they going to learn next year. Kind of like, Kevin Hart said, you're going to learn today. Well, they going to learn next year. Let's just see how tough you are, because you're fixing to go to 8 conference games of the SEC that you have to play every year in and year out, and you're not going to have conferences starting next year either.
Yeah.
It's just going to be one big thing. There's not going to be an East and a West.
Wow.
And the West of the SEC was, I always considered it, at least for the past several years, to be the hardest conference in the entire nation.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, you had Bama, always good. LSU, most of the time good.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, most of the time good. And then you've got Arkansas, who's mostly a dark horse. Ole Miss, hate to toot my own horn here, mostly a dark horse, can beat anybody at any time.
Yeah.
Mississippi State, you remember, they were the number 1 team in the college football playoff, the very first college football playoff ranking that happened. And they've had a down couple of years, yes, but they've always been up there with a tough game. So, you bring Texas and Oklahoma into that, and now they've got to go through that, and not only do they have to contend with what used to be the SEC West, Now they've got to just contend with the SEC. They've got to go through Georgia. They've got to go through Florida. Mm-hmm. South Carolina's on the rise.
Tennessee.
It's supposed to be tough. It's supposed to be an eye-opener for these guys.
Yeah. Tennessee. Vanderbilt is good.
Yeah, we're not going to Vanderbilt. They don't even have a fully built stadium to play in.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They were using 2 cranes to use as a net blocker for field goals last week against Hawaii.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, we're not going to go with Vandy. Now, if you want to talk Vandy baseball, you're talking about a College World Series team 4 out of the last 6 years and a back-to-back national championship for Vanderbilt baseball. So go figure there.
Yeah, I know that they're very good. David Price played for them in Vanderbilt, and a couple other guys I can think of. And Vanderbilt baseball is very, very good, and I've always liked them because of that. Football wise, basketball, they I think Jerry Stackhouse is the coach for them. And
don't even get me lying. I could not tell you. I couldn't even tell you who their football coach is right now. I don't pay so much attention to
Exactly. I don't know either. But, like I said, I know that, like you said, there's Texas and Oklahoma is going to be seeing some really, really, you got to look at Kentucky. Kentucky is not bad,
No, they're not. They rolled to a pretty good victory today, 45-17, I think.
Yeah. Kentucky. You got SEC is going to be very tough for Oklahoma and Texas, and like you said, it seems like there's, and like I said, Ole Miss is not bad. I like Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss. I like LSU. I'm not really big on Alabama. Because of they win all the time, and they Saban is kind of like a little bit of a crybaby to me, because
he's set himself into immortality really with what he is. Now the bar for Saban is set so high that if he doesn't even come close to those expectations, which would be incredible expectations for most any other school, it's a crying shame.
Yeah, because what I heard also is that, there's a standard of Alabama where, everybody's trying to compete with them, and Alabama is basically competing against the teams of their past, and what they're doing is like they're not trying to compete against, let's say, whatever school it is, Auburn or whatever.
Alabama versus Clemson. It's Alabama of 2023 versus Alabama of 2009.
Exactly. The standard is like really set high for them. But
and there's not another school in the country that can set that kind of bar.
Exactly.
Georgia can't set it yet. They haven't had, what was it, a 12-year run that Alabama's on now since. No, longer than that, 15 years just about it, because Alabama started their dynasty in 2006, 7, something like that.
Somewhere around in there, yeah, like 20, 17 to 18 years.
They haven't fell out of the top 10 since then, but I think once.
Yeah, I think it was once. But, like you said, you don't have any other teams that are basically like that. But, like I said, with the Pac-12 gone now, you're looking at, like I said, you're looking at certain things that you'll never see ever in your lifetime. I never thought that, I always thought that, the Pac-12 would be around. And, and I think that San Diego State was trying to join the Pac-12. And I don't know what they're going to do. I guess they're going to stay in the Mountain West now. But I'm not sure what the Mountain West is going to do. Are they going to take Oregon State and Washington State? I'm not sure what, this, like you said, this might be the death.
Downgrade for Oregon State and Wazoo. They went from the Pac-12 to the Mountain West. I'm not saying anything bad about the Mountain West, because they do have BYU, Boise State, and the likes like that. Boise State had one of my favorite games, probably my favorite game of all time, in the 2009 Fiesta Bowl.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Was it 2009?
I think it was. when they ran the
Statue
of Liberty
and the hook and ladder.
Oh my
and then
gosh!
the fullback proposed to his girlfriend on the sideline, who was the head cheerleader.
Yeah, I remember that, and that was against Oklahoma, right?
Yep, that was against Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think I kind of remember that one.
I can remember watching that in bed at my parents' house. I was just starting high school whenever that happened, and I can vividly remember having chills whenever they decided to do that Statue of Liberty play.
Wow.
That was incredible.
That is crazy.
But, yeah, I mean, what's the Pac-12 going to do? There's nothing they can do. They just got to find somewhere to go.
Yeah. And, we was talking, you just mentioned that, the Pac-12 was kind of like the weakest link. I actually thought that the Big 12 was going to be the one that was like scrambling to try to find a home, and find teams and all. But they found 4 good teams. They found Houston. They found BYU. Who else were they? Central Florida, and there was somebody else that just joined into the pack of the Big 12.
I'm trying to think.
Tulane, and the Pac-12 did pretty good. I mean the Big 12. I'm sorry, I keep saying Pac-12. I'm just so sorry for them. I feel bad for them. But like you said, the Big 12 is actually they've stayed alive. And I was surprised.
The Big 12 just took the Pac-12's place, is what they did.
Yeah.
With the Pac-12 gone, the Big 12 is now the Pac-12 because they've got the schools where there might be one of them that's something.
Yeah.
Kind of like, Oregon was. Oregon was something there for a while for the Pac-12. USC years ago was something there for the Pac-12. And now, who's it going to be for the Big 12? I mean, it's certainly not going to be... Is it Nebraska? Am I losing my mind there?
No. Nebraska's the still in the Big 10. Baylor, and
Baylor. That's what I was thinking of. Baylor, for a while they were really good. They were the face there for a little while because Texas was down. Oklahoma went down for like 2 years, and when I say went down, they lost 2 games?
Yeah,
3.
Yeah. Well, Kansas was. I didn't mean to cut you off, but Kansas was pretty good, bad. Then they came back. Kansas had a pretty good football team at one time.
Yeah, and you think about K-State. K-State was garbage for the longest time, and then look out! Last year they won the whole entire Big 12.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I never really thought that K-State was that good, but when they played that game against TCU last year, that was amazing. And like you said, TCU, we'll get into what they did a little bit in a little bit, but
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah,
I got some thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But you know what? The other team that I was trying to think of was Cincinnati, that moved into the Big 12 this year.
Yes, we were both completely wrong on that one.
But I figured it out.
Tulane would be a good pickup for somebody.
That would be a good pickup. But Tulane would probably be good in the Big 12. But, I don't know why, but Houston, to me, Houston has always been that wild card. They should have been in the Big 12 a long time ago. But I think Texas and somebody else kept trying to keep them out and keep them away from, that league. They said, well, just stay over there in that little league that you're in, But now, the Big 12 is pretty good. I think the Big 12 will survive now. And with Arizona State, and Utah coming into the Big 12, they should be really, really good. They're going to be strong as well.
Well, you think about that, you just barked off 3 teams right there, and there's only one of them that's ranked, and that's Utah. And to be perfectly honest, Utah did just curb stomp Florida.
Yeah.
Absolutely curb stomp them.
Yeah, they were. I kind of like Utah because, I like their coach. Their coach is pretty good, and he's like no nonsense, which is pretty good. And like I said, the thing is, Utah, it was kind of like under the radar mostly. And, kind of under the radar just like TCU was last year. And it's really good to where you have some teams that are very, very, not bad. But like you said, I like under the radar teams. Like your team, Ole Miss. I like them. I like them because, nobody thinks that they can do anything, and they end up playing pretty good football as well. So,
well, the only bad thing about being an Ole Miss fan is whenever you actually do the things that nobody expects you to, you don't do the things that everybody expects you to.
Yeah.
When we were undefeated going into playing Arkansas in 2014, 2015, that year that we beat Alabama when College Game Day come here, we go into the Arkansas game undefeated. Oh, look, we've got 28 seconds left on the clock. They're 4th and 25. All we got to do is stop them. We win, and we're automatically into the SEC championship. Oh, no, let's let them convert a 4th and 25 on Fumblerooski and turn around and lose the game, and then turn around and lose the next one to LSU and finish the season at like 9-3 when we had a concrete path and were 4th in the nation the first year the college football playoffs come out.
Yeah.
So being an Ole Miss fan is tough because you get to the high and then it just spirals.
Yeah. Now, I do, like I said, I really, really, I feel for you guys because I always think that you guys have pretty good players like DK Metcalf and, what was that kid that played there? Was that Elijah Moore?
There was Elijah Moore.
Yeah,
He's now on the Ravens, I think.
Cleveland. Oh, okay.
He made a 53-man NFL roster. I do know that.
Okay. Yeah, but it's like you guys have good players.
Back last year, Zach Evans made the Rams roster.
Yeah. And who was the quarterback you guys had last year? Matt Corral?
No, Matt Corral was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
He got cut by the Panthers and picked up by the Patriots.
Oh, okay. Now, see, that's the thing. I like him. I like Matt Corral. I thought, he played pretty good.
He was a stud when he was healthy, but he couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah,
and it's the last 3 big quarterbacks that we've had, starting with Bo Wallace, Matt Corral, and Jackson Dart. There's a great version where Heisman Trophy candidate, and then there is the terrible version where he shouldn't even be playing Division II ball.
Wow.
And you never knew which one of them you was going to get on any 3 of those quarterbacks.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You were just hoping when Alabama rolled into town you was going to get Heisman candidate quality quarterback play.
Yeah. So how do you, I want to ask you this one quick question. How do you think you guys can do against Alabama and Georgia this year?
Alabama, I think we can be really good against. I do not think that they're going to be the Alabama of past years. Again, we talked about comparing Alabama to itself. I think we have a better shot of beating Alabama than we do Georgia. Mm-hmm. Because the only weak link that Georgia has right now is Carson Beck, their quarterback. Just because he's unproven, he's had 0 starts. Yeah. I think he's only played in like 6 games, and those have all been garbage time. I'm going down the list right here. We beat Mercer today 73-7, and to be honest with you, that should have been 73-0 because the first play that Mercer had, they done a quarterback draw that he went right up the middle and untouched all the way to the end zone, 75 yards.
Wow.
Next week we've got a tough one at Tulane. That's going to be tough, but I think we're going to come out ahead on that. Then we're home at Georgia Tech, which we should win. Yeah. And then after that, you're talking about a gauntlet of at Bama, home to LSU, home to Arkansas, away to Auburn, home to Vandy, home to A&M, and then away at Georgia. So you're talking about a 7-week span right there that's fixing to be terrible. Oof. I think we can beat Bama. We've got to bring our absolute A game, of course, but I think we can do it. Arkansas is going to be a thorn in our side because they always are.
Yeah.
Auburn is still a wild card. I've got a loss at Georgia. But I tell you, the one team that scares me to death is LSU. Because LSU is either going to be the number one team in the nation or they're not going to be in the top 25.
Yeah.
They're just set up like that. Their quarterback, Brian Kelly down there, what they done last year, they're only progressing. Right now, I've got them anywhere from 8 to 10 wins is what I've got them pegged at. And that's with beating Mercer, Tulane, Georgia Tech, lose to Alabama, lose to LSU, win Arkansas, Auburn, Vandy, A&M, lose to Georgia, and then win Louisiana Monroe and win against our rivalry game in Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Now, we've got some things going for us right now. We're returning 4 starters on the offensive line from last year, which is a really good thing because, believe it or not, Ole Miss had the number 1 rushing attack. Yes, that's weird to say. The number 1 rushing attack in the SEC with the rushing leader in Quinshon Judkins, who was a freshman, by the way, who rushed for 1,500 yards almost as a true freshman. The guy was a beast, and he's coming back now for a sophomore season with all that off-season training and everything like that. We lost most of our wide receivers except for Jordan Watkins, who actually showed out today and caught 2 touchdown passes, but we got a transfer in Trey Harris, who is going to be an absolute stud for us. Going through today, just during the first quarter, he had 3 receptions. All 3 were touchdowns. He finished today setting the single game receiving record of 4 touchdowns in a game for a receiver in his first game.
Wow.
Now, our defense is going to be shoddy, I think. I'm very afraid of our defense. I think a lot of these games are going to be shootouts because we're only returning 6 starters on defense. A lot of them, especially coming in off of the bench, are going to be transfers or guys that haven't had any real experience playing. And playing against Mercer today, watching them, Mercer just let a lot of big plays go. Drop passes, running back, if he'd have cut right instead of left, would have ran for 50 yards. I mean, yeah. I was kind of disappointed in seeing what the defense actually done today. But if the offense can play like I see that they're capable of playing right now, you think about it. Jackson Dart started the whole entire season for us last year. Mm-hmm. Started us all 7-0, mm-hmm. and he's having we've got a guy on the bench right now that's a transfer from Oklahoma State who started 43 games and was over 30-something wins for them and was the number 2 all-time quarterback for them in Spencer Sanders. And Jackson Dart has beaten him out. Now we've got a hell of a 1-2 punch right there at quarterback and a legit quarterback battle because he played today and looked really good too. Jackson Dart finished today with 303 yards mm-hmm. through 3 quarters, and Sanders finished the game at 180-something yards through just a couple of drives. So we've got something cooking here. It's just about keeping it together, and Lane Kiffin has got his hands cut out for him, or his hands full right now, and his work cut out for him.
Yeah,
trying to keep this thing rolling.
I know what you meant. You meant the other way around. It's all good, but you know what? I look at it this way: Lane Kiffin has always been a very controversial guy, but he knows how to coach. He can coach.
His off-the-field stuff gets him in trouble, but his on-the-field stuff is as good as anybody in the country, just about it.
Yeah, being a Raider fan, I kind of know about how, he didn't really have a good rapport with our old guy Al Davis. He didn't really, Al Davis didn't really like it. But I look at it this way, that I think Ole Miss is going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay, and they should be able to hold their own in the SEC.
I think the ceiling for them this year is going to be a New Year's Six bowl.
New Year's Six?
New Year's Six. I don't think they're college football playoff ready. Unless for some reason everybody else has a down year and Ole Miss is just way better than I think they actually are. I think they're going to be within that top 12 in the country.
Okay.
We'll say. Which, go for most schools in the country, that's a great season. And I would consider it a great season. Let's go to a Cotton Bowl and beat TCU or something like that. Yeah. I'm cool with that. Hey, if we make it to a national championship, cool.
I wouldn't have a problem with that because, like I said, we got, we're going to go through and, pick who we think is going to be in the, Final Four for the last time. This is the last time that we'll pick the Final Four. But I want to ask you this. I wanted to take a break. Are you good for another segment?
Absolutely, sir. I'm here as long as you need me to be.
Okay. I tell you what we're going to do is we're going to take a little short break. And what we'll do is we'll go through, okay, so you think we went through basically all the SEC and the Pac-12?
I think we've covered it pretty good, other than, the games and stuff that have happened today.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about the other side of the SEC, and then we'll go into the Big Ten, and then we'll finish up with the ACC, and then we'll just talking basically about the let's say who we think is going to make the playoffs, and just pick a couple little different things. But like I said, nothing really heavy. But like I said, I listen to you, and I'm very, very, very intrigued and astonished by your knowledge, because like I said, most of the time when I get on this podcast, I let my guests talk. I don't try to interrupt them, and I let them go through and just have a good time. Like I said, it's nothing serious, but I really, really appreciate you being here with me. Definitely.
Well, I'm having a great time here, and if you'll let me talk, I'll sit here and talk all the time.
Hey,
don't bother me none.
That's not a problem.
You just tell me what you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it.
That's not a problem. But like I said, we'll take a little short break. But, man, I appreciate you. And like I said, guys, we're listening to episode 185. This is actually, we'll call this the college football special because, like I said, I brought in my man Dan. He's going to be back with me next weekend, right?
Yep,
okay.
I'll be here.
Okay,
or something crazy.
And then we'll talk pros next week because, like I said, we'll just go through college today. But like I said,
I got a Saints jacket on right now, buddy. Have I got some stuff to say to you? And your son is not gonna like me.
Well, you know what? I'm not gonna have him. I think they're gonna be. One of them is in college right now, and then the other one, I'm not sure. He's getting ready for his wedding, so like I said, I'm father of the groom, so I gotta try to get myself together as well. But we'll talk about that on the other side. And let me take this break right quick. So, guys, we're listening to episode 185 of the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. I'm here with my man Dan. We'll be right back right after this. And when I take this break, I always bring in my voice actress lady. Here she is.
You're listening to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. This is episode 185. This is our college football special. And like I said, I have my man Dan from my man Dixieland Dan is back here. And I wanted to ask you, what was the biggest thing that you've seen today in college football?
The biggest thing I've seen today?
Yeah, what was the most shocking thing you've seen?
Well, the most shocking thing, honestly, was the amount of points scored by several different teams.
Yeah.
Because you had several teams scoring over 50 points. All of our ranked teams scored over 40 today. So all the offenses are looking damn good. I mean, my Ole Miss Rebels, they had 73 against a no-name Mercer team, but I mean, you put 73 on anybody, I don't care who they are, that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You had Arkansas putting up 56. You had Kentucky putting up 48. You had Michigan putting up 30. You had, which I think was kind of a letdown with that trashy school up there in Michigan.
God.
Yeah, Rob, that's a shot at you. Michigan sucks.
Hey, you know, he would expect me to say it because I'm an Ohio State guy, and you know he.
I don't get it, dude. For some reason, I just cannot stand Michigan.
Oh my
Jim
God!
Harbaugh seems like a d-bag. I'm sure he's a great guy, but he just seems like a douche. They stole quarterbacks from us here at Ole Miss that's supposed to start for us. I'm sorry, Rob. I don't like Michigan.
Oh my God, Rob, that's not me.
No, you put that all on old Dan here. But yeah, going back to that, all the points scored, and Oregon. I don't know who Portland State is, but they're going to have a bad week next week. 81-7.
Yeah, I seen that.
And it's not just the offense putting up that; it's what the defense doing.
Yeah.
Their leading passer, their starting quarterback, had 35 yards.
Oh my gosh.
35 yards passing is all they had on the day. They had 200 yards of total offense. Their offense rushed for 148, which is kind of alarming for Oregon. How is your rush defense giving that up? But, I mean, Oregon put up 730 yards today. So the amount of offense that I seen around the nation was probably the most shocking thing.
Yeah.
And then we all know what the biggest story of the day was TCU went to the national championship last year and Colorado.
Yeah.
That was the biggest story of the day, but the most shocking thing was just the amount of points put up.
Yeah. I thought 81. I never seen any. I don't even remember anybody putting up 81 points.
That's the first time I can remember anybody putting up that amount of points. And I watched Ole Miss put up 76 on Jackson State one year.
Well, I mean, I thought this was PlayStation or something like that. I mean, that 81 points, you know, you know, I know that I'm guilty of it. I played Xbox to where, hey, I played my favorite team against beating up on somebody like the Philadelphia Eagles or whatever, but, you know, I'm not going to say anything. But anyway, you know, 81 or 90 or even 100 some odd points. I've never seen 81 points in real life. I've never been to a game that said 81 points. Not unless they're playing basketball.
Exactly. If you ever seen an 81-7 in a basketball, we need to just go ahead and sit that losing team down and say, look, guys, do y'all even want to play anymore?
Yeah, exactly. But
the TCU game, Colorado game, I had Colorado marked at the beginning of the season before any of this even kicked off because I saw what Prime did at Jackson State, and I was like, can this translate? This is going to be something to keep a very, very close eye on, especially whenever he brought in over 50 transfers with him.
Yeah.
He pretty much flipped the whole entire team.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't want to be here, leave. We don't want you.
Yeah, well, you know, another thing, too, is that I think I was reading a stat where they said 68 scholarships, the most of any team in football. I mean, that's crazy. 68 scholarships?
Yeah, you never see that. Not even from big schools like Alabama.
I mean, they must have went through the portal and just, you know, took everybody, basically. I don't know. That was a shock to me. You know, seeing that.
He brought most of his team with him from Jackson State. He brought his quarterback and his son. What is his name? Sanders is his last name, of course, but is it Sharon?
Yeah, I think it. I know you're talking about. I don't remember his name right off.
Down here, but I'm gonna find it.
But two of his sons play. One of them's a defensive back, and the other one's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got Hunter.
Yeah, that kid looked really good.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter looked really good.
Of the ball.
Yeah.
He had 94 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns, and he also had an interception in the game.
And he looked good. He looked really good.
I mean, you can't coach that.
Now, I know that, like I said, I've never seen a team that, transformed this way and basically, like you said, they only won 1 game last year. Now, if they do win 5 or 6 games, this would be this would be a remarkable job. I have no problem with this. I mean, because like I said, Prime is a good coach. Did a great job down in Jackson State. But like you said, this is, do you think that he was actually going to come in here and do this? I got a feeling that they're going to go 2-0 because I don't have no faith in Nebraska winning any games, or basically they do the same thing over and over. They basically fall apart like they usually do, so this might be.
I was watching through the games today and taking some notes on it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I had wrote down about the end of the third quarter for Colorado, regardless of what the outcome of the game was, win or loss, this was a win for Colorado. For doing what they did.
It was.
Just for doing what they did. Now, you think about this. If they go, let's say they shock the world, 7 wins, 8 wins. They do something crazy like that. Think about the transfers they brought in, or Coach Prime brought in, before having even played a game there.
Exactly. It's going to be crazy.
They're going to have an 8-win season after going 1-11 with a brand new coach and in a superstar of a coach. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, he may have been in the FBS for 1 year, but he's going to be a superstar already.
Yeah,
anybody that's not starting on a top 10 team is going to want to go play for him.
I agree. And the thing about it is that I think what's going to happen is that he's not even going to really need the portal. Basically, guys are just going to just say, "All right, I'm coming to play for you. I'm coming to play for you." And
I'm going to go play for Coach Sanders.
Exactly. And this is going to be, I think this is going to be really good for Colorado. I mean, I like Colorado years ago when they had Cordell Stewart, when the Heisman Trophy winner that passed away, Rashad, Salam.
I'm not sure.
Rashad Salam, that's his name. Years and years ago. I mean, Eric Bieniemy played for Colorado years ago.
Oh, now you just put up something I had no idea about.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Eric Bieniemy was from Colorado, and like I said, there was some good. Colorado had some good teams, but they never could get over the hump. But like I said, I used to like Colorado back in the day. I like a lot of teams back in the day, but like I said, it's just more or less. This should be one of the biggest turnarounds I've ever seen. And
yeah, it sure is. And let me ask you this question. Judging by today, they just beat a TCU team that didn't lose too awful much to the NFL draft this year, who went to the national championship last year, and they just beat them like that, which, I mean, they didn't beat them soundly or anything, but it was a dogfight the whole entire way.
Exactly.
At TCU, what happens if Coach Prime turns this into, let's say at the end of the year, they're a top 10 team going to a New Year's Six Bowl?
Yeah.
What does next year look like for Colorado?
Exactly.
It can only go up.
Yeah.
I mean, are we looking at the possibility that over the next 2 years, Colorado's supposed to be in the conversation for a college football playoff? That would be insane.
Probably.
And then my next question would be, it's Colorado. I mean, nobody really knows Colorado, the majority of the country. Nobody follows them. Let's say, in a crazy scenario, Penn State has a down next 2 years. Or maybe Clemson. Or one that really stands out to me, Florida has a couple of down years. And all of a sudden, these teams are looking for a coach, and you're talking about Colorado in a college football playoff conversation. How long is it going to be before Coach Prime ups and jumps the bandwagon and goes to a big name school like a Florida or a Penn State? Now, I don't necessarily see Penn State being one of those. I'm just kind of giving it as an example. I could see it if, 2 years they're going 7 wins and all of a sudden James Franklin is on the hot seat.
I think he is already.
Yeah, how about a Texas A&M with a Jimbo Fisher who went 6-7 last year?
Yeah, Fisher's on a hot seat too.
Yeah, what if they done that again this year? Hey, look at Coach Prime. Look what he just done. Let's see if we can get him. Is Texas A&M a better job than Colorado is? By all means,
it is. Yeah, you're right. You're right in that sense. But like you said, it's just I don't know. But then again, we don't know what these coaches are going to do. I don't think he's going to basically up and leave these guys right after he built his program. I think he might stick around for a little bit. Maybe not. I don't know. But
I kind of feel like that if, let's say, give him this year, next year, that would be 2024. If in the end of 2024 he just kind of up and left, I kind of think it will. The way he talks, it would kind of hurt his legacy.
Yeah, I think it would too.
I'm here to win. I'm here for these players. I'm here for the long haul. And all of a sudden, here's Texas A&M with $14 million a year. Well, wait a minute now. Hold up. Let me check y'all out.
Yeah, I just hope that he can just stick around and build that program because that would be good to see Colorado back in kind of like the national spotlight. Now, like we were talking basically about, the SEC and the Pac-12. I just saw something scroll across my television. The Mountain West is talking to Oregon State and Washington State.
As they should be.
So now the Pac-12 will probably be totally demolished by next year. And,
I would say probably by the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're true. That's true. Because you never know what, the way this thing has, blown, it's been like turned upside down. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen. And like you said, maybe next week that might be a situation.
But you see how fast the rest of it has progressed.
Exactly.
The rest of them have left within the last month. So if there's only 2 teams left, they're like, well, we need to jump ship now.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. It's like, what was that game? Musical chairs. Somebody's, everybody's got to find a home, Yeah. And you don't want to be the one standing where, everybody has a chair, And
the odd man out goes to the mat.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Odd man out got to go to the Suncoast Conference.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of the Suncoast Conference, actually I got on the television UCLA and Coastal Carolina. Remember, Coastal Carolina wasn't that bad a couple years ago.
No, Coastal Carolina's actually pretty good.
They are.
They finished in the top 20. And remember this, in 2019 or 2018, who won the Men's College World Series?
Exactly.
Coastal Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's a good school to have. I mean, I don't see, and see, that's the thing. Some of these small schools, I really like to see some of these small schools get into the, playoffs and stuff like that. Like Cincinnati. Cincinnati earned that right to get in there, and I would like to see, Coastal Carolina. As a matter of fact, I still think that Coastal Carolina should have been considered for the college playoff. But now, since it's going to be expanded, you might see Coastal Carolina in there. You might see Cincinnati back in there. And like you were saying, some of these small schools are going to probably get that opportunity. Maybe maybe we might see Tulane. Maybe we might see, Coastal Carolina, or we might see somebody like maybe who? Liberty.
Yeah.
Memphis, Liberty. Remember, Liberty wasn't pretty. They were pretty good a couple years ago
Liberty
too.
had one loss with Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, exactly. So
now, my question would be: these little schools that you're mentioning in Coastal Carolina, Eastern Carolina, Central Michigan, Western Kentucky, these things like this. What would they be able to turn into with big time money from some of these big time conferences? Like, I'm sure that these kids or these schools now, let's take a Coastal Carolina. Let's say their budget is $5 million. Well, what happens whenever they join the ACC and they're getting $12-14 million a year just to spend on their football program?
Yeah.
What's that going to turn into?
Yeah, that would be pretty good because, see, another thing too, like you said, that money could trickle down and go into their baseball program. And like you said, they're right in the same area which the ACC is. It's not like you got Stanford all the way on the West Coast and Cal on the West Coast coming over. I still, jeez, Dan, I just can't get over this crap, man. Seriously,
I just don't know what they're going to call the Atlantic Coast Conference because you got two teams on the West Coast coming in.
Yeah,
and one from the central part of the state.
Well, Jake, yeah, I mean, how big is that rivalry between North Carolina State and Cal? Boy, I always looked at that as like one of the biggest rivalries of all time, right?
Oh,
jeez.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this there, Mr. Guru. Who is North Carolina State's rival now?
Probably Duke and...
See?
Duke...
I have no damn idea.
Maybe Duke, Wake Forest, and North Carolina. I don't know. And it's really crazy though.
No, North Carolina and Duke would be that rivalry, but North Carolina State, maybe Wake Forest or No, it wouldn't be Appalachian State. Wake Forest, maybe.
Wake Forest's rival is probably Duke. That's like. I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. Now, all right, like Syracuse. Syracuse's rival is who?
Rutgers?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. But that's see, that Rutgers... No, but Rutgers is in the Big Ten.
About Syracuse.
Yeah, but Syracuse is in the ACC, and Rutgers is in the Big Ten. When they used to be, like, kind of close... But, this is like so crazy to talk about this stuff and like think of all these teams that are like around the country now. But I wonder.
That's absolute madness. Almost just about as absolute madness as I just tried to adjust my chair and almost fell off of my porch.
Oh, I hope you didn't. You okay?
No, I didn't, but I damn sure come close to.
Oh man, don't be.
I just had a small heart attack on the Guru Talking Sports podcast.
Oh God, don't do that, please. All right, I got a quick question for you. All right, since we talked, basically about all the conferences. One conference I'm probably not going to say too much about because, like you said, we'll let Rob come in next week and talk about the Big Ten. The only thing I can say about the Big Ten is that, me, I'm an Ohio State guy. I do kind of favor Maryland because, I'm from Baltimore. And, Maryland is, one of the teams that I used to, follow or whatever. Maryland is not going to be a pushover, I don't think, this year in the conference. The Penn State, you got Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, and, basically those three. I think Maryland might be that fourth team in that division that might be a pretty good team. I watched a little bit of them today. They beat Towson, which is, a rivalry between two Maryland schools. But I think Maryland might be that fourth team. they're going to struggle against Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State, but I think they might be okay. They might be okay.
Well, my question to you would be, clearly, it's Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, maybe? And then who's after that? Like, seriously, I couldn't tell you. It would be a toss-up to me to tell you who would be the next team in that conversation. And the only reason I say Wisconsin is because they're ranked.
Yeah, yeah.
And I literally couldn't tell you after Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State.
Okay, I would say probably Minnesota. Minnesota, they had a pretty good win the other day.
About Minnesota.
Yeah.
I forget Minnesota's even there.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. With this conference is just so big now, and then after that probably be Iowa.
Iowa, which has the greatest tradition in sports of all time. Don't think about Virginia Tech with Enter the Sandman, or think about LSU down there in Baton Rouge. No, that's Enter the Sandman. And what is Virginia Tech? Is it what is that they come into?
Oh, jeez. Oh, I can't think of the name right off.
I can't either, but it's Enter Sandman at LSU.
Yeah.
Or I may have them backwards. But you think about, some of the big traditions around sport. Ole Miss with the hotty-toddy chant. Penn State and their whiteout games.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. The greatest tradition in college sports just started up not long ago, and that is the Ohio Hawkeyes wave to the Children's Hospital.
Exactly.
I don't care what anybody says, that's the best one. I watched it today. It's a tearjerker. It really is. For all of those sick kids to be able to come up to the top floors and watch a Hawkeye game, and even have the opposing team turn around and wave to them. That's freaking cool.
Yeah, it is. And, like you said, traditions, what Ohio State is dotting the I. That's one of the things that they do. But
I was trying to think of, the big names, the 12th man down in Texas A&M, the midnight cheer, whatever it is they got. The cowbells at Mississippi State, stuff like that.
But it pales in comparisons to what you just mentioned about the waving to the children. I've seen that. I've seen that a couple of times, and it's just
happen chance. It's just happen chance that they're over there, but it's still incredibly cool that school decided, hey, let's do that. Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. Big props to Iowa on that.
Oh yeah. But I meant to tell you that I'm looking at the Ohio State schedule. Their schedule is not bad, and like I said, I'm only going to talk about Ohio State. And like next week, we'll have Rob come in here and talk about his guys for Michigan. They will play. Other than that, they'll play next week. They play Youngstown State, which is so-so team. Western Kentucky, and then Notre Dame on September 23rd, which is going to be a very, very interesting game. That'll be in Notre Dame. Then Maryland comes into the Horseshoe in October 7th. Then they go to Purdue. They have to play Penn State at home. They play at Wisconsin. This game I might be able to try to go to. Ohio State is going to play Rutgers in Piscataway, and I might try to go to that one. And because like I said, I'm not too far from Rutgers campus anyway, and I'm looking at the ticket prices right now. And not too bad. I'll say about like $63 now for one ticket to get in. And
I could get into an Ole Miss game for free just because of some certain connections that I have.
Oh, you the man. You the man.
getting to the stadium.
Yeah.
I don't want to take a bus with a bunch of drunk college kids. But you're going through the schedule there for Ohio State.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to bring something up here.
All right, go ahead.
The first 2 weeks of October this year, week 4 and week 5. Let me just name off these teams that are playing, and I just put down the biggest name teams I think that are ranked for the most part. Because I kind of believe these are going to be by far the biggest 2 weeks in college football, even going past the rivalry games. So, in week 4, you've got Ole Miss and Alabama. You've got Arkansas, LSU, USC and Arizona State, Florida State and Clemson, Texas, Baylor, and I wrote this one down just because it was Oregon and because I thought it was an interesting storyline. But now it may be possibly a big fucking game in Colorado and Oregon, and Auburn and Texas A&M. That's just the ranked opponents, really. And then the next week you've got Georgia, Auburn, Michigan and Nebraska, which I put in there just because Michigan and Nebraska. You know, now that I sit there and look at that after watching Nebraska, I'm not real sure why
exactly.
I put that in there.
Well, you know, that'll be a good win for Rob's team.
There you go, Rob. The one thing you can have from me, you and your jerk of a Michigan team. But you also got Bama and Mississippi State, LSU and Ole Miss, and this is going to be another team that I put on here just because it was ranked and now may be a huge game is USC and Colorado and Texas A&M and Arkansas. So if you want to talk about schedules, if you want to clear off 2 weekends to sit in front of the TV, week 4 and week 5 of the NCAA football schedule would be a great week to sit in front of the TV because those are some massive games.
Yeah. There's going to be some good games, I'll tell you. But
and honestly, Ohio State didn't play anybody. I think they played Purdue and Northwestern, I think.
Yeah.
So
their schedule is not bad, but you know, I really, from what I watched today, I don't know what Ryan Day is thinking. And to tell you the truth, if we do lose to Michigan this year, I think we're going to be looking for a new coach. Because
if you're not looking for a new coach, he's going to be on the hot seat next year.
Well, I think he's going to be on the hot seat this year because, you know, I mean, in the tradition of this rivalry, losing 3 in a row is not really cool. You know, Earl Bruce didn't have that. And Jim Tressel didn't have 3 years of losing to Michigan, you know, and like I said, you know, Woody Hayes never had it. So I mean, I'm in general just a couple of the coaches that I mentioned, you know, like Earl Bruce. I mean, he only was there like a little while, but. You know, like I said, it's just that if Ryan Day doesn't win this game against Michigan, and this is going to be the biggest game of his career, I think, like I said, we probably going to be, you know, in Michigan, I got to give them credit. I got to give them honest credit. See, I'm a realist. And last year when Ohio State lost, the first thing I said was, you know what, this team. You know, and they say, well, you know what? They're going to put Ohio State in the playoff. I said, you know what? They did not earn it. They did not earn it. And I hate to say that other word, which begins with a D, deserve. I hate saying that because, you know what? The only thing that you deserve in life is an ass kicking. That's it. And you know what? And be totally honest, Ohio State deserved that ass kicking because guess what? They didn't play. They didn't even show up. And Michigan ran the hell out of them. And the only thing is that, the other running back just beat the hell out of them. And they didn't even have Corum. They didn't even have Blake Corum. So, hey, I got to look at it this way. I'm realistic. The first thing I said, and I even told Rob this, I told a lot of people this, Ohio State should not be considered for the 14 playoff. But they did get in there, and they played Georgia pretty tough, and they almost beat Georgia. And basically, when the clock struck midnight, and it was on New Year's Day, I couldn't believe that game. I was like so freaking mad. I said, you know what? They played good, but guess what? They shouldn't have even been here. They shouldn't have been here at all.
You were talking about not being able to lose to Michigan 3 times in a row and how big of a game that is. Sitting here thinking about it while you were talking about that, the 3 biggest rivalries in this country that I could think of would be Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl. It would be Oklahoma and Texas.
Red River rivalry.
Yep, the Red River rivalry. And the biggest one, honestly, that I can think of, as much as I hate to say it, would be Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's the 3 big rivalries.
Yeah. Well,
losing to your rival 3 times in a row is a fireable offense, in my opinion.
It is. It is. Believe me.
You won 2 out of the last 3 national champions. It
is. And there's a couple other ones like Florida, Florida State, and then Miami, Florida State.
The Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, the Egg Bowl. I remember the Egg.
One of the oldest rivalries in the country.
Yeah, Egg Bowl, and then you got the what is the Oregon State? That's the what is that?
The Lumberjack or something? Don't get me in line.
The Paul Bunyan or something.
LSU and Arkansas.
That's like the LSU Arkansas is pretty good too.
They got the old golden boot, but I've never ever understood that rivalry ever.
Yeah,
I don't get it. That's like having Georgia and Georgia Tech as a rivalry.
Yeah, well,
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just I guess it's the Peach Classic or whatever. I don't know, but another thing,
it doesn't deserve to be a rivalry now.
Yeah, I mean it shouldn't be, because the thing about it is that like you said, since all this is changing and going, it's so much change that's going around. So it's just really, really bad.
It's all changing. It's crazy. We may have a visitor.
Yeah.
I heard my daughter hollering my name.
Uh-oh. All right. I tell you what.
You went back inside. You're good. Keep going.
All right. Well, I tell you what. I'm going to take a break right here, and then what we'll do is we'll finish up with the, the rest of the college stuff, and then we'll make some predictions on who you think is going to go to the playoff.
Okay. We can do that, and she just came around the corner of the porch asking me something.
All right, no problem. Tell her I said hi.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
All right.
I'll bring her back on the podcast here in just a minute. How about that?
Yeah, you can. Hey, that's fine by me. All right, guys.
I was not expecting that. I'm so sorry.
No. Don't apologize. You're okay. I tell you what. We'll take a little short break. This is the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 185.
You're listening to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. And this is episode 185. I'm here with my man, Dan, and we're basically, we was talking off the air, and we basically ran through most of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. And like I said, it's just good to see college football back. I'm really happy that I got a good partner that I can talk to about college football. And, he's also a good partner to talk to about with pros, too. Yeah, that's why he's going to be back next week when we talk about the pros. And what we're going to do is basically, I'm going to go through and I'm going to, ask him, his prediction for the 4 that's going to make it to the championship. And also, like I said, next week me, Rob, and Dan are going to talk a little bit more about the Big Ten, because we didn't really talk about the ACC, but we will talk a little ACC and Big Ten next week, and then we'll go into pros and give our thoughts on the pros. So, all right, Dan, my big question is, who do you like for the 4 to go to the last 4 college football playoff?
Last 4. Well, this is going to hurt my soul to say. It really hurts. Now, you may need to call an ambulance on this one. But my one lock that I know for a fact is going to be a Final Four team, barring injury, is going to be Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan will make it. I'm sorry. I know you're Ohio State Buckeyes fan. I'm sorry, bud. But barring Penn State being 10 times better than I think they are, or Michigan having several key injuries, I believe Michigan's going to win the Big Ten, and they're going to the college football playoffs.
All right.
Now, out of the SEC, dude, I don't know. You've got so many right there that can make a claim. I mean, if you want to go off of right now, just judging by week 1, you got to go with Ole Miss, but I'm not picking them. I'm not.
Okay.
They're not there yet.
All right.
It's hard to go against Alabama. It really is, just because Alabama is Alabama. Everybody knows Nick Saban is going to put the best team forward, regardless of who in the hell they've got out there. And Georgia, Kirby Smart's got them in such a position that if they get a stable quarterback back there, you think about it, Stetson Bennett was not a go-get-'em quarterback, not a throw the ball out of the stadium quarterback.
Yeah.
He was a game manager. He really was. He was, let's say, an above-average game manager. And they're 2-time national champions. So I have a really hard time picking between the two of them. I'm going to say Georgia, just because they're probably both going to go to the SEC championship, and Georgia's going to do it again.
Yeah.
Another team that really caught my eye is, like we talked about earlier, Oregon. Oregon looked so good this game. And it's not just their offense with putting up 81 points. It's what their defense doing.
Yeah.
If you hold a quarterback in today's NCAA football to 35 yards, regardless of where in the hell they are playing, you've done something. You can get 35 yards from just dumping it to your running back every time. That looks pretty good. I don't know why, but I feel like Oregon is going to have it. I think they're going to have it over USC because I honestly believe that Oregon has a better defense than USC. Last year, Oregon had a top 30 defense. Last year, USC didn't even crack the top 50. Mm-hmm. USC barely cracked the top 15 in offense. Now, I'm not sure what Oregon done there, but I really think if Oregon can keep on this roll, they can go with it. Now, my ACC sleeper, because you know as well as I do, it takes an absolute miracle for the 4 college football playoff teams not to be from a Power 5 conference. Mm-hmm. And the one that looks really, really good to me right now is Florida State.
Yeah, yeah.
And is it Jordan Travis that's the quarterback? Mm-hmm. He's looking really good. They looked really good at the end of last year. They went, 10-3, 11-2. They were looking really good, and they started off they're going to start off this year, I believe, strong against LSU. Now, whether they beat LSU tomorrow night is yet to be seen. But LSU is another one of those teams that can be in that conversation with Alabama and Georgia. Mm-hmm. The SEC is really going to be a toss-up between those three. Whoever comes out on top between those three is going to the college football playoff. And even maybe whoever comes out second goes to the college football playoff. So with my final prediction, Michigan probably at number one. I imagine Michigan finishes the season at number one. And then give me Georgia, Florida State, and then give me LSU. Because I think LSU is going to have a better team than Alabama this year. So that's your two SEC teams. And Oregon's going to be sitting there at number 5. I believe that would be my best guess as of right now, judging from last year as well as what I have seen this year. And if somehow LSU beats Florida State tomorrow, that's really going to bolster my confidence. Whoever wins that game is really going to bolster my confidence on either one of them, really.
All right, so you said Michigan. Who's your 4? Michigan,
Georgia, Florida State, and LSU.
Okay. All right. So I got you down for Michigan, LSU, Georgia, Florida State. Okay.
And honestly, again, as of what I've seen now and from last year, even if you want to throw Oklahoma in this, that 4th spot is going to be a toss-up between Florida State, Oklahoma, and Oregon.
Okay.
I really believe that. And I just think Florida State has a better path to get there as far as their strength of schedule, because Oregon's just not going to have the strength of schedule to get there.
I got you.
I kind of feel like they're going to look at the Pac-12 kind of loosely this year. And also they're going to look at the SEC like, well, dang, if you come out of there with one loss, regardless of what side you're on, you deserve to be there.
All right, cool. I got you down for those 4. Now, I'm going to go a little bit different. And, okay, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to pick you. I'm going to pick the conference winners, or out of the Power 5. Out of the Power 5, I say the Michigan will win the Big Ten. But
oh, that hurts your soul to say.
But you know what? I really think that they probably are going to win the Big Ten. And, I hate to say this, but, if they... It does hurt my soul, but the thing is that, I like I said, I want to be realistic. And going with my heart and being a sports guy, you can't really go with your heart. But, I understand how, what this landscape looked like with the true meaning of what I see and what I know. I know that from what I've seen this afternoon, Ohio State does not have, it seems like it's just been lacking that killer instinct. And I hate to say this, but like I said, last year, I was totally right when I said when they lost to Michigan, they did not deserve the right to go to the college football playoff. And I'm being totally honest. I really think that. And, hey, they lucked up and they almost beat Georgia. But the thing about it is that, I love C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is a great quarterback. Great Ohio State quarterback. We got to see what he's going to be like in the pros, but still, I want to be fair and honest. I don't think that Ohio State will make it this year. I hate to say this, and this is really, really being truthful. Michigan's going to win the Big Ten, so I'm going to go with Michigan as my my first one. I do like LSU. It's going to be hard for LSU to beat Georgia, and then they still got to play Alabama. Now, if they lose to Alabama, and Alabama loses to Georgia, Nick Saban's going to politic and cry and complain or whatever, and he's going to try to get his way to get in. Georgia's still the best team, in the nation. They're the defending champs. So I got to go with Georgia on the second one. The third one, I would probably say if LSU can just get those, if they can beat Georgia and Alabama, they should have a easier pathway to get there. LSU will probably be my third team. My fourth team, I do like Florida State. But I'm going to go with a total off-the-wall pick. The off-the-wall pick is going to be Oregon State.
What?
I am going to go with Oregon State to make the last one because I look at it this way. Oregon State has the best defense in the Pac-12. And like you said, USC has a great offense. But Oregon State has the best defense probably in the country. And Oregon is good. But I think Oregon State is probably going to be this year's shocker. And this year, remember how we had Cincinnati to kind of get in there?
I think TCU.
And TCU. I think Oregon State will probably be undefeated and go and be in the college playoff. It's going to be a really, really hard road for them to try to make it up there. But I got a feeling that if they can find a way, I think Oregon State will probably be that fourth team. I know this is a really crazy prediction, but I'm gonna say Oregon State.
That's a definite off the wall there. I was not expecting an Oregon State from you right there. I was kind of leaning towards Texas.
I think Texas. I don't think Texas is back, but
I think they're overrated. I really do.
I do too. And, but the thing is that if Oregon State doesn't make it, the other team that I think would probably be better, and I'm not really a big fan of them, but I would have to say Oklahoma, because Oklahoma did look pretty good today, and I think that they have a little bit, if they can get their defense to play. See, that's the problem with Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley has great offensive teams, but he had no defense. And believe me, when Oklahoma played, the Oklahoma problem the last couple of years was their defense.
They would have been national champions if they'd have had a halfway competent defense.
Exactly.
At least 2 years.
Exactly. And that's why I don't think USC...
With Jalen Hurts and Baker Mayfield.
Exactly. But see, that's why I don't think USC is going to... I don't think that they're going to win their conference. I don't think USC is going to win the Pac-12. I think Oregon State is going to win the Pac-12. I'm going off the wall and saying that Oregon State will probably go to the Final Four. That spot. Either it's a toss up between, and I really think I was thinking about this. It's between Oregon State and Oklahoma. Now I might be totally crazy and totally wrong, but the guru's never wrong. Anyway, but I do think that there's either one of those two teams. Like you said, you had Michigan, LSU, Oregon, Georgia, and then Florida State. Those were your, kind of like your 4 and then 1A, right? I would say my 4.
Flip-flop LSU and Alabama for 1 or 2.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm gonna do with Oregon and Oregon State and Oklahoma. I can flip them as 1 and 2. Like I said, I don't think
one thing here that me and you seem to agree on is that Clemson isn't going to be there.
No. I think Clemson.
I don't even think Clemson's going to win the ACC.
Nope. I don't like Clemson. I don't like Dabble Sweeney, to tell you the truth. And
I don't know. For some reason, I've lost my trust in Clemson.
Yeah, I think, and one of the reasons why I'm kind of like picking Oregon State is because Ukulele or whatever his name is that used to play for Clemson, he's in Oregon State, and if he has a pretty decent year, I think that they, like I said, I got a feeling that I like UCLA. UCLA has always been like my favorite college team because, you know, like I said, I used to hang out there, and I knew Bob Toledo, the former coach of UCLA, and met him a couple times and talked to him a couple times. But like I said, it's just, I don't know. Oregon State has that defense, and this could be like the turning of the point for Oregon State. I mean, like I said, I'm crazy enough to try to, you know, push the chips in there. Yeah, push my chips in the middle of the freaking table for them. But I got a feeling that they might not be that bad. But, you know, I thought you might thought I would say Colorado's going to win, you know, make it in there. No, I ain't going to go that crazy.
I've got another question for you here. What do we think about Penn State here? Because I've kind of got Penn State as a dark horse here.
I like Penn State, but I think James Franklin overthinks things most of the time. Franklin overthinks things, and I think that, they're not going to beat Michigan. They're not going to beat Michigan, and I don't think they're going to beat Ohio State. I think Ohio State's going to fall to either. I mean, they have one of those games where they don't show up, and you know, like last year, they didn't show up twice against Michigan. You know, they didn't show up against Michigan. They didn't show up against. I think it was either Iowa or Purdue a couple years ago when they lost that one game, or they lost one game in the conference. And I think they beat Michigan, but they lost to, I think it was either Purdue or Iowa. One of those two teams beat them a couple years back.
Year that Purdue won the entire Big Ten?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of Pittsburgh with the ACC?
Pittsburgh did win the ACC a couple years ago. Yeah, Pittsburgh did win the ACC a couple years ago. But Ohio State slipped up against, it was either Penn State Purdue or Iowa. And I think I'm thinking really, really closely, it might have been Iowa that they lost to.
I think it was Iowa because I think they were in Iowa.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. They had one of those road games where they just didn't show up. And I was like, okay, this is not right. But, you know, it is what it is. But like I said, I like my guys, but I just didn't see any urgency. You know, urgency or you know, I'm trying to think of another word to think of, like urgency. I mean, you know, they just didn't have, you know what I'm saying? They just didn't have that urgency to really go out and beat Indiana the way they should have beat them, you know? But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Indiana gave Ohio State all they wanted today and then some.
Yeah. You know, and just think if Indiana still had Michael Penix Jr., the guy that's up in Washington, they would have lost because I remember a couple years ago when Michael Penix Jr. played for Indiana, they played Ohio State really, really tough. And like I said, I love my Buckeyes, but there's something about them this year I just don't see. I don't see them being that, that bully that everybody fears now. I think what it is that Michigan showed the world basically how Ohio State can be beat. And I hate to say this, but, the momentum is swung back into Michigan's court. So,
whoever beats Michigan first will win the Big Ten, I believe. And if nobody can do it, of course, it's going to be Michigan.
Yeah. And
but
see, that's the thing.
If somebody happens to screw around there and punch Michigan in the mouth, I think Michigan's going to stumble.
Yeah.
If somebody messes around there and beats Michigan early in the season, I think they're going to stumble.
Yeah. But
stumble to 2 or 3 losses on the year.
Ooh.
But I do not see that happening. I see Michigan running the complete table until they get to the CFP.
Yeah.
And at that point, right now, it's anybody's guess.
I got a feeling that Michigan is probably going to lose one game. I can't say who right now, and but I got a feeling that they could just break it all the way through. And like I said, I don't feel confident about Ohio State beating them. And I'm sitting here, I'm saying this, and I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm loyal to my guys, but like I said, I don't see the urgency for them. I don't see them with a desire or heart. It's kind of hard to put the words out to say what I'm.
I think I can put it into right words here. They don't have any of that dog in them.
Yeah. I mean,
that's an inside joke.
Yeah, I got you. But they got to have that gusto to where they need to, go out and say, okay, well, this is what we're playing for. This is the game that we have to win. And like I said, the last couple years, I didn't see it. And you know what? It's probably going to cost Ryan Day his job. Definitely.
Hey, what did we talk about earlier with Deion? Ryan Day doesn't win it this year, doesn't win it next year. Okay, let's get somebody in here that is on the very, very right.
Yeah, And I don't see.
He's coached Colorado to an 8-4, and then a 10-2.
Yeah. I like I said, it's funny because like I said, I just don't see. I kind of. Like we were saying, somebody's got to beat Michigan early. Somebody beats Michigan early, they might have a chance, and then, they might have a chance to not make the CFP. But the thing is that from what I'm seeing right now, I don't think nobody can beat Michigan. I really don't. And I hate to say this.
I don't either.
I hate to say this because, like I said, here I am. I'm on the opposite side. Woody Hayes would probably, cuss me out or something.
He's brave right now listening to you say this.
Yeah, he probably would cuss me out and say you're a traitor. But like I say, hey, I gotta call it like I see it. I can't be, I gotta be true to what I know, And from what I see, it's just that Michigan is a little bit better team.
Yeah, it's the same way as I think with Ole Miss this year. I think they're the 2nd to 5th best team in the SEC. I really do.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, I don't think they're going to get through the gauntlet of Bama, LSU, and Georgia unscathed. And that's what it's going to take for Ole Miss to get to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
If Ole Miss wants to get to the college football playoffs, they've got to win the SEC. And to do that, they're going to have to go undefeated, and I just don't think they can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is going to be a very interesting.
Weird happens, We lose to Alabama, but Alabama loses to LSU, and we beat LSU, and Alabama gets beat by somebody else.
Yeah.
It's going to be something stupid if we ever make it there.
Yeah. I really see them. Like I said, this is going to be a very, very, very wild and crazy. It's going to be a really wild and crazy college football season. And believe me, that's why I like sitting here talking about college right now. And this is going to be funny, huh?
Everybody's got their hopes up right now.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm gonna try to see if I can go to that Rutgers game, Rutgers in Ohio State. And matter of fact, that would be like an early birthday present because the game is on the 4th and my birthday's on the 5th, so that'll be kind of cool.
Oh, hell, look at you go.
Yeah.
I always love to see if I can make it to a Penn State game. I don't know why, but I just think Penn State would be a cool place to go see. From what I've seen in the pictures of their campus, it looks really, really pretty.
It is really nice, but I've actually seen a Penn State game, and like I was mentioning, I seen it in the Rose Bowl back in 1994, 95, when they played Oregon. And the one thing I remember is the first play of the game, Kajana Carter took the first snap and ran it about like maybe 75 or 80 yards or so. Kerry Collins played on that team too. And Oregon. Kerry Collins that played in the Super Bowl against the Ravens for the New York Giants. But
that was before my time.
Yeah, a little bit before your time. Oh man, don't say it.
I'm gonna call him out.
Oh man, don't call me out. I appreciate that. Oh man. All right, well, I tell you what. Like I said, man, I really appreciate this, and I'm gonna wrap this up. But like I said, this was fun. This was fun, and like you always. I always tell you this. You're always welcome to come back anytime.
Well, I would appreciate being on at any time. I always have a blast sitting here talking to you, sitting here talking like I'm catching up with an old friend of mine. I consider you a friend.
I appreciate it.
I enjoy it
every
single time I get to come on here. I wish I'd come on more often because it seems like me and you always seem to have pretty good long conversations here.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Like I said, I will definitely have you on next week, and we can finish up the conversations. Like we'll talk during the week anyway. But definitely.
We can have that guy on that likes that stupid team up there in the Big Ten called Michigan.
He actually went there.
Organization.
He actually went there and saw. I mean, years ago, East Carolina was a pretty good team, but they fallen on hard times or whatever. But now, that would be kind of cool to have him in next week, and we'll all get together. We'll talk about the pros.
I think we can talk some shit, Mr. Rob.
There you go. But like I said, we'll do what I usually do, and like I said, what I usually do on in September through February. I usually do it on a Saturday night, which is kind of cool because then I can talk about what happened during the day in college and then make the predictions for the pros on Sunday, which is kind of a good thing because, like, most of the time during the summertime and, I talk a lot of baseball and, what I usually do is I talk baseball and, all the other little things of sports and what's going on. I haven't even talked about the U.S. Open or the FIFA World Championship and all like that, or golf.
Now, the FIFA World Championship I could probably go along with, but tennis and golf, I can't help you, bud. I can't help you.
Tennis, I do know a little tennis, but I know that Jessica Pegula won her match tonight, and which was a cool thing. So, but other than that, like I said, I'm not going to mention any baseball other than the Orioles did win, and I didn't get a chance to check on my other two teams that I like, but like I said,
are a dumpster fire, and the Braves are going to win it all.
Yeah, Braves are they're just having their way with the Dodgers, and I thought that the Dodgers would be able to do something, but they lost. Dodgers lost 4-2 tonight to the Braves. Braves are just really good.
They're ridiculous right now.
Yeah, my Blue Jays lost 8-7 to Colorado, so it's all good. All right, well, I tell you what.
College football, I ain't even checked out the MLB today, so.
Yeah, I did watch a little bit of the Oriole game, but like I said, Dan, I got to run out of here and get this done. But I appreciate you, and what I'm going to do is just give everybody the particulars, and then I'm going to call it a night. So.
Sounds like a plan to me. I appreciate you having me on tonight. I will be more than happy to come on at any time you'd like to have me.
All right.
And like you said, maybe next week we can get together and I can talk some trash to that Michigan-loving Jerk.
We'll be back. I'll definitely see you back here next weekend. So we'll get together Saturday night again, and we'll talk some. And matter of fact, I wanted to tell you also, you have a great Labor Day, and I got to get ready for these two drafts. Are you drafting tomorrow in our league?
Not that I'm aware of, no sir.
I forgot. I think it is tomorrow, but it's funny because I think that draft starts at 8. Mine starts at 7, so I'm going to be probably playing both ends of at the same time. I've done that before. I actually had a fantasy football draft on Tuesday, and I stayed up to 10 o'clock, and I was, tired as I don't know what because I had a local run to do. So
yeah, I haven't played fantasy in probably 3 or 4 years because I have nobody to play it with, honestly. None of my friends around here, I don't have enough of them to consider even trying to get a league with, so.
Yeah.
The few times I've done it, I've had to do it in just random places with, on Yahoo with random Yahoos.
Yeah.
And it just never went well, so.
That's cool.
I've never really had an opportunity to do it in an actual league of people that I know.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll get together. We'll talk, and maybe I might have to expand my league up to 12 teams next year. So you'll be probably considered definitely for induction into the third and long
How do I
league.
throw my hat in this conversation?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Here's
All right.
$100 on the side.
Oh no! I don't take no money. This is a free league. I don't play for money. This is a free league. I can't. That's the thing. I don't really like money leagues because a lot of people get really upset, and I don't want nobody going Tommy Pham on me. Being a commissioner and all like that. So, but anyway, like I said, man, I really appreciate you coming on, and you take care, and I will be talking to you soon. And like I said, you have a great Sunday, have a great Labor Day, and take it easy and be safe.
All right, Mr. Guru, I sure appreciate it. I'm going to get ready to start cooking up some good food, drinking a few cold beers, and maybe riding around on the ATV.
I hear you. Have a good one, and I'll be talking to you soon.
All right, Mr. Guru, thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're much welcome. I'll talk to you soon. You take care now.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, later on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was my man Dan, and like I said, you heard it here. We always have a great time. I'll be talking to him next week, and like I said, next week will be episode 186, and we're going to talk a little bit of NFL, And like I said, I'll catch up on some of the little things like, well, the baseball and everything that we didn't get a chance to catch up on today. I want to end this by saying thank you for listening. If you're out there, please remember that fentanyl kills, and please do everything you can to make sure that you take care of that and make sure that we don't experiment with any drugs at all. All right, I want to say thank you, and you know how to find me on YouTube, Facebook, IG, Threads, Snapchat. I'm not going to go through all these, but Gmail and Twitter, all those, you know where to find me. Podcasts, outlets, Spreaker, Spotify, Podchasers, and all that. So, big props and shout outs to Miss Mary Mack, the Mary Mack Show on Grief. My man Hector, Washington Heights, Blunt Thoughts and Blunt Recaps. Jeff Duarte, Cali Sports News. The Young GM Football Show. My cousin Curtis and his grandson Jarrett. My hip hop representative and my man Danny Rivera. My baseball insider Mr. Dave May Jr. Appreciate you. Caden, Ray, Dante, and rest in peace to cousin Aaron. This has been a Black Goat production for Black Goat Sports, copyright 2023, all rights reserved. We don't hate, we congratulate. We always create and we don't steal from nobody. Thank you for listening. And, you know, like I said, we'll be back next week with 186 of the Guru Talking Sports podcast. And we will see you real soon, next week. The Guru will take care, and you guys take care. I know, it's been a long one. It's been about like 4 hours. Hey, you guys take care, or I'll be talking to you soon. I'll talk to you. Guru, I'm out of here. Later.